Welcome to this video all about labour and birth positions. So the first set of positions that I'm going to demonstrate are for the first stage of labour when your cervix is dilating. Then the second set of positions that I'm going to demonstrate are for the second stage of labour when you'll be giving birth to your baby. But before I get started, I need to share some important information with you. Most of these positions are going to require equipment of some kind. For example, a dining room chair, a sofa, a bed or a birth ball. You will also need a few cushions or pillows. After I demonstrate each position, feel free to pause the video and get into that position by yourself for a few moments. If it feels comfortable for you, that's a good indication that it's going to feel comfortable for you to get into that position during labour. But if the position doesn't feel particularly comfortable to you, that's a good indication that it's not going to be the best position for you to get into during labour. Not everybody is going to like the same positions, so by practicing the positions during pregnancy, that's going to make you aware of what's going to be potentially most comfortable for you during childbirth. And one final point before I get started. If you don't have access to all of the equipment needed for these labour and birth positions right now, just watch the video through to the end, then consider purchasing the equipment that you do need for the big day ahead. I hope that makes sense. Now let's get stuck in. Now during the first stage of labour, your focus should be on conserving your energy. So if your contractions start during the night and you've not had that much sleep, I wouldn't be recommending that you jump out of bed and wander around your house for hours or around your hospital room. So to conserve your energy, I would recommend staying in bed, propped up with pillows for support, and also placing a pillow or two in between your legs for hip support and comfort. I would also recommend that you lie on your left-hand side because that's generally best for blood and oxygen circulation. If you can get back to sleep, that's fantastic, but if not, just close your eyes and maybe listen to a hypnobirthing meditation or some calming music on a low volume, and perhaps even diffuse some lavender aromatherapy oil into your room to help you to feel more restful and relaxed. And you can stay like this as long as you feel comfortable, and it's just all about relaxing your body, not moving around, so that you're conserving your energy for the more intense phases of labour later on. If your labour starts during the day and you've had a relatively good night's sleep, you can still lie down in bed or on your sofa if you want to. However, you can also get into upright positions that are working with gravity, which I'm going to demonstrate now. Straddling a chair during the first stage of labour is really good because it tilts your pelvis forwards and it allows your baby's head to press on your cervix to help it to dilate. That means that your labour is more likely to be shorter. Also, it allows your upper body and your lower body to rest. And this position is particularly good because it means that your partner has access to your shoulders and your back if you want to receive a nice massage from them. During the first stage of labour, the focus should also be on getting into positions where your legs are wider apart. And what this does is it opens up the pelvic inlet and makes it easier for your baby to descend into the lower pelvis ready for birth. Also, it helps your baby's head to press more firmly on your cervix as it's dilating during contractions, and this can speed up the cervical dilation process, making it smoother and more comfortable for you. If you feel like standing up in labour, that's absolutely fine. You can walk around for a little while, but just make sure that you don't do it for too long because your legs could get tired. You can also do things like popping one foot up on a chair and doing slow, shallow lunge movements backwards and forwards, which I'll now demonstrate. I know you can't see my face right now, but I just want to show you what I'm doing with my legs and my feet. I'm going to demonstrate these slow, shallow lunges using this chair. Generally, it's best to do a side lunge. Make sure that the foot that's on the floor is safe and securely planted on the ground. Place one foot up on a chair and just do side lunges like that. You don't want to be lunging too far over because that can put pressure on your knee. So just slow movements back and forth like this, holding onto the chair for support if you feel like you need it. And just doing this for 1 to 2 minutes on one foot, and then you can use the opposite foot. I'm turning the other way now, and just do the same thing with the other foot. And this is really good for speeding up cervical dilation and helping your baby to descend into the lower pelvis. If you've got access to a birth ball during labour, that's going to be really beneficial. Just make sure that when you're sitting on it, that your hips are slightly higher than your knees. Make sure that your feet are securely planted on the ground, that your legs are wide apart in what we call a 10-2 position. So if you're thinking about a clock face, it would be 10 to 2 on a clock. Sit with your back straight, and then you can do gentle bouncing on the birth ball like that. I really loved doing that when I was in labour. You can also do hip circles to the right. And again, if you pause this video, you can do this by yourself for a few minutes. And to the left, hip circles to the left. You can also lunge from left to right. Just make sure that you don't feel wobbly. Ideally, I would have your birth partner sitting behind you and supporting you with their hands on your hips so that you don't topple backwards. Because sometimes in labour, if you've got your eyes closed and you're trying to breathe through a contraction, you might feel a little bit unsteady on a birth ball. So that's the lunges. And you can also do pelvic tilts. So leaning backwards and forwards like this. And you can mix this up, do a couple of minutes of bouncing, a couple of minutes of hip circles, a few minutes of lunges, and a few minutes of the pelvic tilts. If you want to stand up using a birth ball, you can also place one on top of a bed, a sofa, or your kitchen countertop, and just lean over it like I'm doing, and you can sway from side to side like this, or move back and forth like this. Just make sure that the birth ball is securely positioned on that higher up surface so that it doesn't fall off. Another position that you could try is kneeling over the birth ball. So your legs are on the ground, you're kneeling in a wide stance, your upper body's resting over the top of the birth ball. And again, close your eyes, rock back and forth as much or as little as you want to, but you can also move from side to side like this. Sorry, this birth ball is making a little bit of a noise as I move from side to side. But for me, in labour, this was really comfortable. But it's just important to protect your knees, otherwise they're going to get sore, so pillows underneath the knees. Okay, ladies? Now you can also get into squatting positions during the cervical dilation phase. I am not a squatter. I feel like I've got quite weak legs, and my legs just give way if I support myself in a squatting position for more than a couple of minutes. But this might be something that you feel comfortable doing because you've got strong legs. What you would generally do is use a birth ball for this and place your legs around the birth ball so you feel secure, and just hold on to it with your arms and your hands. And you can do a little bit of gentle movement back and forth and also from side to side. But when you feel like your legs are getting tired, I would get up and change positions. Another position that you could try is all fours. I was in this position quite a lot during the first stage of labour. You might want to again place some pillows under your knees if you don't want them to get too sore. Make sure that when you're in this position that your neck and your head are hanging down towards the ground, otherwise they're going to get really achy and sore. And then in this position it's really easy to breathe deeply because pressure is taken off your diaphragm because your baby's hanging down towards the ground. And again, this position is really good because you can move back and forwards like that. You can sway from side to side and move your hips, which is really good if you're experiencing quite a lot of intense contraction discomfort at this point in time. Just make sure that when your arms and hands get tired, that you move out of that position. I generally stayed in this position for about 10 to 15 minutes at a time, but then my hands and my arms got tired, so I got into a different position. When you're fully dilated, your baby's going to make their way out of your womb, through your fully dilated cervix and into your birth canal, ready to be born. And at this point in time, you generally want to be getting into positions that are close to the ground or close to a surface. We instinctively feel drawn to being close to a surface because we don't want our babies to fall too far when they're coming out of our bodies. Also, you'll probably not want to move around that much because it's going to feel quite uncomfortable. So getting into 1 or 2 different positions where there's very minimal movement is probably going to feel best for you. But what you want to be focusing on at this point in time is opening up the pelvic outlet, okay? And that's going to allow your baby to come out of your body and your birth canal a lot more easily. In order to open up the pelvic outlet, what you need to be doing is getting into what we call Kiko positions. And that means that you're generally kneeling down, but your knees are closer together, but your calves and your feet are wider apart. So it looks a little bit like an upside down V. And I'm going to demonstrate a few positions that you could adopt during the birthing stage. So I know that you can't see my face right now, but hopefully you can hear me. So I'm demonstrating a birthing position that is Kiko. My knees are closer together, my calves and my feet are further apart. This is opening the pelvic outlet and helping my baby to come out more smoothly. So I'm leaning over my sofa because I'm at home recording this video, but you might be kneeling over the side of a birth pool. You might have the backrest of your hospital bed up in an upright position and you can kneel over the side of that. You might want to kneel over a birth ball or something at this stage. But as long as you are breathing, just working with your contractions and your knees are closer together, that is going to make your baby's entrance into the world a lot more easy and comfortable for you. And I did sway a little bit during contractions because that was helping with backache that I was experiencing at the time. Some women also like to birth in an all fours position, but just make sure that your knees are slightly closer together than your feet and your calves. And you might just want to be doing this. That can feel really comfortable. But again, like I demonstrated before with an all fours presentation earlier, make sure that your neck and your head are relaxed and going down towards the ground. Now, if, for example, you can't use your legs when you're giving birth, maybe you've had an epidural and you can't feel your lower body, if you can, try not to lie flat on your back when you're giving birth to your baby, because that can increase the chances of you experiencing a bad tear. You're more likely to need something like an episiotomy, a forceps or a vacuum extraction birth, and it restricts space in the birth canal, in the pelvis, and it makes it harder for your baby to come out of your birth canal. And that's simply because when you're lying with your back flat against a hospital mattress, it pushes in the lower part of the spine, and that makes it a lot harder for your baby to be born smoothly. If it is possible at all, and you're lying down to give birth, try to lie down on your side. Even just on your side slightly is better than nothing, because that will allow your spine to curve out of the way. It will still allow your pelvic outlet to open, and you can just ask a member of your care team to hold one of your legs up for you with your knees slightly closer together so that your baby can make their entrance into the world more comfortably. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope that you found it helpful and informative. I am a sweaty mess now. We're having a heat wave in the UK right now, and I think it must be about 30 degrees in this room. So I'm going to go and have a shower before I pick up my daughter from school. If you have any questions about these labour and birth positions or anything about labour and birth whatsoever, pop me a message in the comments section beneath this video and I will reply as soon as I possibly can. This video is part of my online hypnobirthing course. So if you want to have a calm and easier labour and birth, you might want to check out my online hypnobirthing course in the video description box below. Thank you so much for watching today, and see you in my next video.